Hey, folks, real quick. Something's really goofy with the audio on this podcast. So hopefully it's not too terrible and you can get through it. And hopefully I'll get it figured out before the next show. Thanks.
Please stay on the line while your call is directed to an available responder.
It's Wednesday, June 29th, 2016. And as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. Hey everybody, welcome back. As always, I want to thank you for choosing to download this show and spend a little time listening to me jibber jabber in your ears. I hope I do get the point across to everybody when they listen how much I do appreciate everyone who takes the time to download the show, listen to me, those of you who respond back, send me emails, hit me up on Twitter, all that. I appreciate it so very much, and I hope you all do know how much to keep using the word, appreciate what you guys bring to me. Since the last episode, I have gone and I have had my paperwork signed by my therapist, faxed paperwork, mailed paperwork, and away is the information that I gathered, the way that I found to preclude myself from being able to purchase a firearm. I'll keep you guys in the loop as far as what I hear back from that. I think I mentioned I would anticipate at least a phone call to Eric, the therapist, and me as well, I would hope. But yeah, I'll let you guys know how that's going and what the process is like. This may be a shorter show today. I'm not sure. I've been trying to think for a few days now what I wanted to talk about today. I've got quite a few things bouncing around in my head lately, and it's getting kind of hard to focus to what I want to, narrow down on to give to you guys. I've gotten some great suggestions on show topic, and I'm going to get to those. I just want to make sure that I have a valid for me opinion on what those topics are. I don't want to just spit out information or tell a story that doesn't have some kind of pointed meaning to it as it relates to me. And then I kind of feel like that gives you guys the chance to agree, disagree, or maybe just gives you more something to think about. At least that's how it works for me when I hear information or hear stories from people. I kind of want there to be a distinct side to it, which probably most stories are. But we're getting philosophical and not at all what this show's about. I just want to remind everybody that you can get a hold of me on email at jamolke@gmail.com, facebook.com/jamolke, on Twitter @jamolke, or on the ever-struggling blog, www.jamolke.info. That's JAMOALKI. So, you guys, drop me a line and let's start up a conversation. And I guess that's it. The laundry is done, so let's get into the show. So today's little nugget that I want to share with you guys is a website that I came across called crisistext.org, and it's exactly what it sounds. It's a hotline of sorts, but via text message. 2016 is here, and all forms of support are available. And I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit once I get into the story here today. But it's, you can go to crisistext.org and learn about them. The way it works is you would send a text to the word start to 741-741. And, you get a couple messages back, hey, make sure you've read our terms and agreement, things like that. And away you go. What I would recommend is that if you ever think you might do something like this, send the first text today. So you can get all that stuff out of the way. You can save that number, 741-741, as a contact. Anything to reduce barriers to using something like that should you need it. So just remember, that's crisistext.org. Now, so what I wanted to talk about today is actually something I've been thinking about a lot this past week, something that Nora and I spent a good deal of time talking about last night. And we're going to continue to talk about more and more this week and ongoing. It's important. And what we've been talking about is what my specific safety plan is for when I get into or near to a crisis situation. What are the exact things that I can do to keep myself safe? When I first heard about this, probably when I came to Minnesota here and went to my first kind of group, the outpatient program I went to when I first came here, and not even something we talked about when I was in the hospital after my suicide attempt. And so, but the idea is that you have something concrete, something, kind of in your face, available to you, step by step, what you're going to do if you find yourself in crisis, if you find yourself suicidal. It kind of starts out as a way to talk yourself down, and then it kind of escalates on to getting others to interact with you for such things. So this came up a week ago in therapy, my first meeting with Eric, and he asked me what my safety plan was, and I've been asked that before, and I've always like, oh, well, I've talked to Nora, and I can call her, I know, call 911, go to the hospital. And he kind of looked at me and kind of not fatherly, but kind of I don't know, mentor to mentee maybe or something. But he said, I think you should really spend some more time talking about that. He wasn't being condescending. He wasn't, I don't think, trying to be superior to me, but he just made it very clear how important it is to have that safety plan in place to help keep me safe. And it ties in a bit with what I was trying to do with the gun thing. That's not a step-by-step safety plan, but it's something I put in place, and hopefully I've put in place to help keep me a little bit safer. But this that we're talking about, this plan, is, like I said, specific steps to go through for when you need them most. I've got here, Eric gave me it's kind of a rough outline, which is nice because it's got spaces to fill in information, and it gives you an idea of the kind of things you should have on there, because just to say, hey, have a safety plan, well, maybe you don't know what that should entail, what kind of information needs to be in that safety plan. So I'm going to go through this safety plan with you guys, just so you're familiar with one. Anybody who, you can find, forms or whatnot, ideas on what your safety plan should be. Anybody who wants just a PDF emailed copy of this, I will gladly scan it right up and send it to you. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do, and I'll give you a little information about me along the way. So I think what I'll do is I'll just read right from the start of the page, the top of the page. It kind of explains a little bit why safety plans are important. So here we are, quoted from here. If you have thoughts of hurting yourself, start at step 1. Go through each step until you are safe. Remember, suicidal thoughts can be very strong. It may seem they will last forever. With support and time, these thoughts will usually pass. When they pass, you can put energy into sorting out problems that have contributed to you feeling so badly. The hopelessness you may feel now will not last forever. It is important to reach out for help and support. You can get through this difficult time. Since it can be hard to focus and think clearly when you feel suicidal, please copy this and put it in places where you can easily use it, such as your purse, your wallet, or by the phone. That's a little header there. It's just that. I think it sums it up pretty nicely that, hey, we know when you're having suicidal thoughts that they can be overwhelming, and that's all that's in your head. You can't see anything else. So, that's a real important reason why this is so valuable to have this plan, because it's already in place. You don't have to think up these things on your own. You can go to this, read through it, go step by step, repeat a step if you want, and let yourself now help yourself later. And I think that's an important thing. It's something we should all hopefully strive to do, because we have good times, bad times. Anybody does, not just those of us with depression or mental illnesses. Let yourself today help yourself tomorrow. And so let's start step 1 in this version of a safety plan. And again, I don't think, there's not like safetyplan.gov where, hey, this is the thing recommended by doctors universally. You'll find other things. So this is an example of something you could do. Step 1 is do the following activities to calm or comfort yourself. So, think about things that you do that bring you somewhat a little bit of peace, or let your mind to escape, to think of other things, or even if, in my opinion, even if you just zone out, maybe it's reruns of Seinfeld or who knows what. Find these things, hopefully 2, 3, 4, as many as you can think of. If you got a favorite tree at the park and you like to visit there, go walk to the tree in the park. Get out of whatever, your dark bedroom, your, messy kitchen, whatever it is, get out and go do that. Maybe it is watch TV. Maybe you've got a favorite website you like to go to, a social site. Maybe it's send an email to a friend. Maybe it's hop on a chat room in somewhere. Try, spend some time, think about it. Find 2, 3, 4 things that you can do, that you can rely on. Because when you're in, at least I know for myself, when I'm in that situation, none of those things come to my mind. Even if I were to think of, hey, you really enjoy just walking to get a soda. Even if that crosses my mind, I'm going to just give it no credence. So, having it here in my hand, my penmanship, my hand, it gives it more validity. And it's, hey, yeah, I do like doing that. And, I don't know if it gives you permission to go and do those things, if it makes it seem more valuable at that time. But I honestly believe that if you kind of come up with these things today and you spend the time to think about them, that these are valuable activities for you, that you're more likely to go ahead and do those when you need them the most. Step 2 is remind myself of my reasons for living. So, this could be, family, parents, grandparents, children, grandchildren. I know people at the DBSA meeting I go to where it's their dogs. And this is more common. I've realized that many people will say, hey, I can't kill myself today because who's going to feed the dogs? So great, if it's that idea that gets you through that half hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is that you're feeling at your lowest, then latch onto it and take it. Because when you're in that dark moment, again, it's hard to see these things. So that's why write them down, and don't just write down like dog. Write down, hey, Fluffy and Fido give me kisses every time I feed them, and hey, that's a great thing. My girls send me cards. My girls gave me the most fantastic Father's Day present. Something like that. So again, 2, 3, 4 things. Try to get them. Spend some time and think about this, and put that in. Maybe it's your reason is the volunteering you do, or the guy you see every Monday morning at the coffee shop. Who knows? Whatever it is, hopefully you can come up with those and have them written down, because you're not going to think of them. At least I don't when I'm in that situation. Step 3 is call a friend or family member, and there's a spot here for a name and a phone number. So, it was kind of interesting when Nora and I were talking about this last night. I admitted to her how I don't like reaching out to her when I'm kind of at those lowest moments, because again, like many of you, I assume, I don't want to burden her with more problems, right? I mean, we're fortunate people, we've got a decent lifestyle, all thanks to Nora, but she works hard for that, and she has a lot of stress at work for that, and there's 2 younger kids in the house who, are always good for a little bit of drama. There's dogs that crap on the floor, there's traffic on the way home, or there's, this or that. Everybody's got stressors in their life. And whether it's real or made up in my head, I would argue that every time I've thought about going to Nora with more problems, not more problems, but something that I wanted to talk to her about, or that maybe I should talk to her about. It seems like it's one of those days where just it's all hit the fan at work and this and that and blah blah. So, I admitted this to her, and she listened, and she actually said, well, maybe I'm not the person who should be your first point of contact. And it's strange, I never would have thought of that on my own. In my head, I've got a problem. The only person I'm going to share that with is Nora, because she just gets me. She understands me. She doesn't take offense to things that I say. She hears a problem and she understands it, or she, talks it back to me to try to understand it, and then we work for a solution. But, I don't know. We haven't decided for sure yet, but maybe that's true. Maybe it's not her. But if it's not her, then who? So in your life, who is it? Is it one of those family members that's, your reason for living? Is it, a friend that knows all your secrets? Is it someone in the mental health, mental illness community who you're comfortable knowing that they understand a lot of what you're going through? So maybe they're someone that you want to talk to. And don't pick someone who you want to call. Again, my opinion, don't pick someone who you're going to call, who you're expecting to solve the problem of whatever's going on in your head. Pick someone that you're comfortable talking to, someone who's going to listen to what you have to say, have a level head, be willing to talk back and forth with you about it. And maybe that person, towards, halfway through the conversation or towards the end of the conversation is going to say, hey, do you want me to come over? Do you want me to call someone for you? Do you want me to come over and take you to the emergency room because we don't know where this is going? So, someone maybe who's close by who can do that, but, maybe it's cousin Bob who lives in cross country in California, or if you're in California, in, North Carolina. But, someone who's going to listen to you and maybe give you some feedback, but someone you're comfortable sharing with, because a lot of times just that sharing can do a lot to improve your view on the situation. And then step 4 is call a backup person if the first person's not available. Makes sense, right? So, this doesn't have to be like person 1, person 2, person A, person B, it's, whatever. If you're the second person on the list, you're just as important as the first person on the list. But try to think of that other person. Have 3-4 people, as many people as you feel comfortable talking to, put them on the list. So if you can't get a hold of the first person, you've got someone else. If you can't get a hold of the second person, third person, whatever, give yourself as many as you have. If you only have 2, great. If you only have 1, great. Do that. Get a hold of these people. Say, hey, I'm working on this safety plan. This is what it entails. I would really like you to be someone who I can try to contact if I need to speak to someone to kind of just get ideas and thoughts off my chest. So yeah, have people in your personal life who you feel comfortable talking to. Step 5 is call a care provider. So, a psychologist, your psychiatrist, your therapist, reach out to them. And, they're actually, so step 5, we're at a person who is medically trained in dealing with the situation that you're in. And so, I believe this comes after calling friends and family or whatnot, because these guys, and ladies, these folks are not, they have business hours. They have, it's their job to help you. But like any other job, they're not necessarily around 24/7 for you. You may be in a program, you may have a therapist who says, hey, whatever you need, here's my cell phone. If it's 2 a.m., call me. But, those folks are probably few and far between. If you've got that, great. And make sure you got that number in your cell phone. Again, and I'll go over this again, but make sure you have all these things, these numbers in your phone. If you don't have a cell phone, on the phone number list right by each and every phone, because you don't want to say, I was going to call but I can't remember the number or whatever. No excuses. Don't give yourself excuses. Then after that, the next step would be to call your local crisis line. So again, you can do this if you don't happen to know the local number. You can always call that 1-800-APE-TALK, and they will route you to someone local to you. And this is my first little bit. I wanted to share a little bit with me. When Nora and I were talking last night, we talked about, of course, calling a crisis line, a hotline. And I mentioned that, I don't know if I would, because it's foreign. It didn't make sense to me. It wasn't something I knew about. And so we decided that, hey, I would just call. So today, before my therapy appointment, I called 1-800-APE-TALK. And person came, I got connected to someone, and right off the bat, I said, hey, look, I'm not in crisis. I'm not feeling suicidal. So if you need to let me go to help someone who is, I totally get it. And they said, no, we're here to talk. What's on your mind? And I explained to them just what I was doing, that I was making this phone call something that wasn't foreign to me, something that wasn't new, that wasn't in my mind a cold call. Now, obviously, if the time comes and I make that call, I'm not going to call and talk to the same Doug who I talked to today. I get that. But just kind of knowing what that process is, I didn't know how long the routing process would be from hit send to actually talking to a person. This morning, it was 59 seconds was how long it took before hit send and an automatic answer. And then we're going to route. We're going to find a crisis team member for you, and it was 59 seconds. And I don't know if that's average. Is that long? Is that short? I don't know. But at least I know what that process is. Because I could see myself calling and getting to that routing stage, and I'm going on 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, and just saying screw this, screw it, this is stupid, and hanging up. So I wanted to know what was going on, what the steps were, what would they say to me, what would they ask me, what would they do if I said, gee, I'm sitting here, I've got whatever, I've got this plan, and what are they going to do? So that was good, and I'm really glad I did it. Again, I'm going to recommend to you guys that go ahead and do that yourself. I wasn't sure calling how they were going to feel about it, if they were going to think I was wasting their time. And they, Doug was like, no, this is great. I get what you're trying to do, and here's the procedure. Here's what would happen, and just fantastic. I'm going to try a little something here because I called back again. It's actually what I thought was a different number, and I don't have that in front of me, but I will. 800-784-2433, which is 1-800-SUICIDE, and it sounded exactly like when I called APE-TALK. So I'm not sure. I haven't done the research yet to see if these two are affiliated or if they're just so significantly similar that it's transparent. But I called and I recorded that conversation and actually asked them if I said, hey, I want to record this for my podcast. Is that okay? She put me on hold. She came back, mumbled something about we don't record phone calls, and we left it at that. So maybe I'm breaking their rules. In my mind, she didn't tell me not to record, so I feel safe that I went through, I took the appropriate steps. There's nothing damning or nothing like that in here. I am probably going to edit it a little bit. She did ask some personal information of me, as far as address and personal phone number, things like that. So I'll probably edit those out. But hopefully it comes across clear, and it just gives you guys an idea of what that process is like. So let me just play that for you right now, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
Urgent Care for Adult Mental Health. Can I help you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hello? Hi, yeah. I was actually routed to you from 1-800-SUICIDE. Is that appropriate? Okay. And so before I tell you my story, let me just get out in the open that I am actually not suicidal right now. I'm not in a crisis mode. I'm actually...
Okay. So what's going on today?
So I am someone who suffers from depression, and I have been in crisis mode. I've had suicide attempts in the past, and I'm working hard with my wife on my safety plan. And so one of the things we talked about was, there's a couple different phone numbers to call, hotlines and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I expressed that, when I'm in that state, I'm unlikely to make a cold call kind of thing without knowing what the process is like. So actually that's what I'm doing. I'm calling just to see what the process is like so I don't have excuses to not call at a point when I need to call, if that makes sense.
Okay, so James, where do you live? Do you live?
I live in St. Paul.
Where do you live? Oh, in St. Paul. Okay.
Yep.
So, what we do is we help people, with a lot of variety of issues. This is a crisis line, so when if you're depressed and you want to call, or even if you're not suicidal, you can do that.
Okay.
So you don't have to have suicidal ideation to call. And you can call if you're having a problem, or you just want to talk something over, that type of thing also. And we're here 24/7. So.
Okay. Yeah. And that's great information, and really, and so I knew I would be transferred once I called the 800 number based on my location, is what I understood reading about things. So I just kind of wanted to see what that was like.
Right.
What
so you're in St. Paul, so this is Ramsey County. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to see what's the wait like for that, right? So if I call and it's like 3 minutes to route it, well, I probably would give up before that 3 minutes went out, right? If I'm kind of in that state. So I'm just trying to.
That you would have to wait.
Yeah, like if for the routing and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what that process would be like. That's all.
Yeah, well, you know what, James? I can give you a direct number if you just want to call us.
Oh, really?
You don't have to go through a crisis line. Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Or the urgent care. So, so it's 651. 266.
Okay.
7900.
Okay, so your urgent care, so you have a physical location as well, right?
The physical location is 402.
402 University Ave. Yeah, I see that right now. I just okay.
Yeah.
Great. Actually, I was there. Actually, I was there like a week ago. I actually just went through a big ordeal trying to get myself get it so that I wouldn't be able to purchase a firearm. Right. So my last kind of real crisis mode, I found myself shopping guns. And 402 University Ave was a place I was recommended to seek out some information on how I could possibly do that. So maybe I talked to you. I don't know. But great. So I know exactly where you are. But obviously, I'd be more inclined to call. And I imagine you're not big on drop-ins just for chat.
No, we do have drop-ins.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we do. We have drop-ins. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that have hours associated with it then? I assume that's not 24/7.
No, it's not 24/7.
Okay.
Well, Monday through Friday, the walk-in hours are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7 p.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m.
8 to 7.
8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. And then on Saturday and Sunday, it's 11 to 3.
Awesome.
So 11 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon.
Okay. That is great. So I
feel, like you need help.
Yeah, and I appreciate this so much. And thank you for all the stuff you do for folks in the mental health community. I appreciate it. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Okay.
Like I said, I just wanted this to be a familiar call if I need it, as opposed to I don't know what this is going to do kind of thing.
Sure.
Okay.
So if you feel like you need to talk, just give us a call.
Great. Thank you so very much.
Okay, great.
All right, you have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
So, yeah, I mean, really, I thought was a good conversation. Someone who was very interested in being able to help me, not, even though it wasn't necessarily emergency kind of thing, it wasn't, immediate help that I needed, but was very willing to give information for the future. And I thought that was great. So, yeah, so that was my experience with calling a crisis line. You guys give it a try if you like. For me, anyway, I can't stress enough how much familiarity is important to me in doing other things, especially when it comes to, what would be potentially an uncomfortable situation for me. So give it a try if you're comfortable with that. And hey, let me know how it goes. I'd be curious to know. So that's step 6. Step 7 is to go somewhere you are safe. This again, this isn't emergency room, something like that. This is, again, maybe a friend's house, family's house. Heck, maybe it's work. Who knows? But somewhere where you know that there are others around you who get you, who understand maybe what you're going through at that moment. That's powerful. That is, sitting around on your own in your bedroom, sitting in your car, outside a Meijer shopping center with a bottle of pills, that just having even just one person around, who's, not sounds like go to your babysitter, but it's not. It's just having that connection. Physical, it's meaningful. It's right there. So yeah, go somewhere safe and have that. Put the address down. Bob's house, Susie's house, Greg's cottage, whatever, somewhere where you can go to be safe. And I guess this could be anywhere. I mean, go, if it's the mall, maybe go to the mall, and maybe go to the movie theater, watch a movie. Heck, that could tie in with the first one, something that, calms you or gives you comfort. Who knows? But think about it. Spend some time and think about what's a safe place to you. And in my mind, being somewhere with others is safer than being somewhere with yourself and only yourself. Step 8 is we're getting down to, go to the emergency room at the nearest hospital. Just go. If you've tried all these other things and they've come up empty, go to the emergency room. I can tell you today the way I feel, that's valuable, that's important, that getting that help is important. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I would argue that no, it's not. That, what my plans are perfectly valid and justified, and, why go through the hassle of all that. So today, while you're feeling, relatively good, make that plan. Write down on the sheet of paper, hey, I'm going to Regions Hospital, and this is where it is. Maybe put the address in. Maybe program it in your GPS on your phone, whatever. So, again, no excuses. Okay, go to the emergency room. Where am I going to go? Okay, I'm going here. This is the hospital I'm going to go to, and you've got a plan. And finally is, if you feel like you can't get yourself to the hospital, call 911 and say, hey, this is what's going on. I need help. They will send someone to come get you and take you safely to the hospital where you can get the help that you need in that situation. So, there it is, 9 steps on this safety plan. Again, you may find other safety plans that you feel are more appropriate for you, but I think this is a good one. And, it's going to take a little work on our part, on your part, to fill in all the different lines here, to make sure, you want an ironclad plan. You want this, and this. No shorthands, no nothing. Really matter-of-factly, this is what I'm going to do to comfort myself. This is what I'm going to try to do to remind myself why it's worth being here. This is the person I'm going to call first. This is the person I'm going to call second, on and on and on. Yeah, this is very important. You guys spend some time and do this for yourself, because if you don't do it today, it's going to be hard to think of it tomorrow. And that's me off the soapbox right there. So yeah, my maybe short show turned out to maybe be close to one of my longest that I've put out. If you've made it all the way through listening to me preach about safety plans, thank you. I hope you found a little bit of value in this monologue, I guess. So, I guess I'll leave you guys from here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. Drop me a line. Let's start a conversation. If you want to share the show with someone else, please do. If you're on iTunes or whatnot and you have the ability to rate the show, please rate the show highly if you think it's worthwhile for someone else to find me. Again, the high rating doesn't boost my ego. It makes the show up more frequently on search results. Yeah, so till next time, everybody, be safe, be well, and I'll talk to you really soon.
You have reached the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, also serving the Veterans Crisis Line.
Para español, oprime el número 2.
If you are in emotional distress or suicidal crisis, or are concerned about someone who might be, we're here to help. If you are a U.S. military veteran or current service member, or are calling about one, please press 1 now. Otherwise, please hold on while we route your call to the nearest crisis center in our network.